Hi there. Let me ask you a question. What would it feel like if every time you release a new product, you had people waiting who had been waiting and are so excited and ready to just buy it up as soon as you release it? Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, I am beginning to experience that. And so I want to share that with you, how that is actually possible. Hi, I'm JoDitt with JoDitt Designs, and I'm a artist and author, creator, entrepreneur. My niche is all about faith and creativity. And the last product that I released earlier this year was this coloring faith planner. And when I released it, I had people who were so excited and just buying it in bunches. I released this in a paperback version on Amazon, and then also a printable version and a digital version to use on your iPad. And I had people buy it up, all three. And on Amazon, it even reached #1 in a couple of different categories. That was so amazing. And that can be a game changer for your business when you actually have people who are ready to buy. One of the main reasons why that happened for me is because of my email list. And so I want to share with you today how you too can grow a flourishing email list. So come on, let's get into it. How to grow a flourishing email list using the power of pretty and generosity. Before we get into the how, first let's talk about why it's so important to build an email list. So here's a quote from Natalie Lucier. She's a digital strategist at Access Ally. She says, building an email list is crucial because it's the best way to build a relationship with potential customers in an intimate way. You're not just a status update that's there and then gone. You're right there in someone's inbox where they receive other important communication from their work, family, friends. And emails wait in someone's inbox until they're read. And when you write really useful emails, people might refer to them more than once because emails are easily searchable too. And then Corey Dilly from Unbounce says, Unbounce's email list is the biggest asset we have for driving new acquisitions. Email marketing consistently generates 80 to 90% of our landing page traffic when we launch a new campaign. So, and this is just a couple. I listened to a lot of different trainings, and just this week alone, there were at least 5 different very successful online entrepreneurs who said their email list is the biggest business asset, the most important thing that they do to drive their business and their revenue. So I love this graphic here that says email marketing is nearly 40 times more effective than Facebook and Twitter combined. And this is from ConvertKit, which is who I use for my email. And you can see the picture here. So if you're trying to do social media, Facebook, Twitter, and I would say Instagram is along here too. We think it's really effective, but really, when you look at the stats, email is way more effective than any type of social media. Now, in case you don't know who I am, like I said in my introduction, I'm JoDitt, and I founded JoDitt Designs a few years ago. I published my first coloring book in 2016, and then I've published several more since then, and I do also a lot of just printables, digital products, and things like that. And my niche is faith and creativity. And so if you're wondering if this kind of thing, will it work in my niche? You know, I do this or that. And you maybe ask me, will it work in the faith niche? And let me tell you, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure it'll work in your niche too, no matter what that is. So building an email list has helped me sell my own products on my own website, sell affiliate products, and become an Amazon best-selling author ×3. I've had 3 different books that have hit bestseller, and to help women and families thrive, which is what is so important. That's why, I'm passionate about this niche. So like I told you before, this book here, my latest book that I published, hit #1, and I wanted to show you, I got emails like this when I told people about what I was doing. And this is the email I got. So excited. I have loved your coloring books. My family and I use them for family time, and we just color and talk. It's therapy. So grateful for your ministry. I will for sure be getting one of these. So these are the type of emails that, makes what I'm doing all worthwhile, is knowing that I am helping somebody, helping women and their families to thrive. That is possible because my email list, I send an email. She sent me back an email. This wasn't over social media. This is email because you can be really more intimate with email. Building an email list has helped me to sell affiliate products. Here recently, I was a #1 affiliate for this summit that I was part of. And here's the email that I got from the host that said, "Congratulations, you're a #1 affiliate for this month's live launch." And that was because all I did was send out a couple of emails. I didn't post about this on social media. Let's see. I think I did put one post on Instagram, maybe, but I promise you the majority of all of that came from my email list. Okay, so let's talk about how I have grown my email list and what I continue to do to grow my email list. So I use the power of pretty and generosity. And the way I do that is I use a lead magnet. Now, if you're new to list building, these terms might not be familiar to you, but you may have heard some of these other terms, and they all mean basically the same thing: an opt-in, an irresistible bribe, a freebie. This is all something that you're going to give away in exchange for somebody giving you their email address. So let's get into actually how to create one. The way I do it is using, for one, the power of pretty. So let me talk to you a little bit about what I mean when I talk about pretty. And I don't just mean, having a pretty face or, adding some flowers, something to kind of make it fancy. That's not what I'm talking about at all. And I'm going to give you an acronym for pretty here in a minute. So let me give you a little bit of backstory. So I'm a graphic designer. I got a degree in visual communications. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. But I worked for a while in an office. I was a secretary, but I also got to do some graphic design work. And once they actually figured out what I could do, my boss would come to me with a sheet of paper that was just typewritten like this. Or she might email it to me, but it's just a page full of words. And she would say, "Make it pretty." But what she didn't mean, though, just add, some pink to it or add some flowers, something like that. No, what she meant was, when she said make it pretty, was make it visual in a way that the people that were wanting to read it would actually consume that information, that it would get our message across, they would understand it, and they would, because people are not going to take the time to read all this. But something like this, graphic, that makes it easier to read, they can get the info at a glance, they can see what it's all about just very easily. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about making it pretty. So let's talk a little bit more about visual communication. The language of the subconscious mind is visual. And actually, people make decisions from their subconscious, not from their conscious mind. We think we're actually, making these conscious decisions, but it all stems from what is in our subconscious. And things are getting even more visual now than they have ever been. So the human attention span has dropped to 8 seconds. 93% of all human communication is actually visual. And that's why I've got my little face up here, because I want you to be able to see my facial expressions and my body language, because that's part of communication. So humans process visuals 60,000 times faster than text. And 81% of people only skim the content that they read online. including me. Who else? Yep. 85% of online shoppers use product videos to make decisions. Do you? People learn 40% better when there are visuals. So visual is so important. Now you may be thinking, well, I'm not a graphic designer. And maybe you are a blogger, maybe you're a podcaster or create YouTube videos, but don't consider yourself a designer. And you may not think that you need all of these visual elements. Maybe you sell PLR content that is just like text-based. And so you may not think that you need that all this visual is that important to you. But let me remind you, remember what we just talked about, how people relate to visual so much faster than text. So these are a few of the things that you're going to need, even if you're not a graphic designer. You're going to need, if you're a podcaster, you're going to need podcast cover art. If you do YouTube videos, you're going to need YouTube thumbnail. One YouTuber who is very successful on YouTube, he spends more time often on his YouTube thumbnail than he does on his videos. And his videos are amazing. So that shows a lot. Why? Because you only have a few seconds to grab someone's attention with your thumbnail for them to click through in order to even watch the video. So if you're a blogger, you need blog feature images so that people will click, it'll draw them in and want to click through and read the post. Instagram posts, emails, event promos, lead magnet images, product listing images. If you sell products on Etsy, it is very important to have a good image there for people to click to see if they're more interested in your product. And then also, Pinterest pins are very important as well. So here is my acronym for pretty. When I talk about make it pretty, I use the power of pretty. This is what I mean. P is for powerful, R is for readable, E is for effective, T is for tailor-made, N for tantalizing, and Y is for yummy. And I've made this pretty checklist here that you can get for free, and I'll show you that later, how you can get that, for you to go by when you're creating your own designs. Now, the yummy part of pretty, the Y that stands for yummy, that is the part that most of us think about when we're talking about pretty or beauty, beautiful. I love this quote by John Keats, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." So it's like giving someone a bouquet of flowers. That is how I combine the power of pretty with generosity. And that's my secret sauce for growing a flourishing email list. Because when you give somebody something that is pretty, then, that's a joy to them. And that is going to touch them. They're going to remember that. I want to give you some concrete examples of what I'm talking about that I have used for my lead magnets. So here is free Thanksgiving coloring pages for adults and kids right here. And I've had lots and lots of people to download these. And when they do, then they're on my email list. And then they get to hear about my other products and things that I offer. This one is free Valentine printables. And then I've got a Faith Over Fear printable coloring page plus printable stickers. And then this one is a prayer journal template. And you can see it's not real fancy. It's got a few words and some lines, just something that people can write their prayers. And I was checking my stats before I did this presentation so I could give you, actually what has happened. And this is what was showing in my ConvertKit account. This prayer journal, I have a unique landing page for it. I have a blog post on it, and then there is an opt-in on that blog post. And those people who sign up, I can see how much have actually just signed up to get this prayer room journal template. 4,589 people have opted in to get this so far. 50,000 visitors, almost 5,000 subscribers. So that is the power of what a lead magnet can do. also wanted you to notice these are all pins. So these are the images that I have put onto Pinterest, and people can click on those and it will take them either to the blog post or just directly to where they can download that printable. And that is an important part of my strategy as well. Here's another example of giving away something pretty that can lead to bunches and bunches of people on your email list. So this is something I created before I published my first coloring book, because I knew I was working on it. And so I was trying to build up my list so that people who were interested in coloring Christian coloring pages would, then want to buy my book. So I did a blog post that was a roundup of Christian coloring pages. So only one coloring page on that blog post was mine. All the rest, there was, I don't remember, 10 to 15 different coloring pages that I went to other bloggers, other creators' pages on their blogs, I found where they were giving away a free coloring page, and I put a picture of that, linked to them, and put up this blog post, and then optimize it with SEO. If you don't know, that's search engine optimization, so that it would show up in Google. And then because of all these pretty images, people love to pin these images that are on that blog post. I was researching for this presentation, so I put in free Christian coloring pages for adults in Google. And this is not the images tab, this is the all tab, but it shows these images here. And this image right here, this is from the blog post, and that's this coloring page right here. So I put the coloring page that was in color and the black and white version in my blog post, and people pin that directly from my blog post. And you can see right here, number one, ranked number one here on Google for this search term. This is the blog post right here. So I get tons of traffic, meaning I get tons of people who search for this. They go to this blog post and they click on it, and I'm giving away a free coloring page. And they will say, yes, I want this free coloring page, and they will get on my email list. So thousands and thousands of people have done this. Now that you can see the power of pretty, let's talk a little bit more about how to actually make something pretty. What goes into that. To do that, I've got two different images here that has the same information. Both of them have the exact same words on them. But which one is prettier to you? So I did this recently live, and everyone said, oh, the one on the right. Yes, it's definitely more pretty. So let's talk about what makes it pretty. And remember, I'm not just talking about beautiful, but I'm talking about powerful, readable, effective, tailor-made, tantalizing, and yummy. So first of all, powerful. This one, yes, it's got these cute little flowers on here, but this is a much more powerful image that just is the border here with these bright colors. So that's one thing. And then readable. This is actually, I think, one of the most important elements that make it pretty, because if it's not readable, then people are not going to get the info. They're not going to read. They're not going to get that message. And so arranging your text in a way that people will actually read it is so important. So here, this one on the left, it's got this fancy script font up at the top, and then a different kind of fancy font for here. It's best to only use one fancy font. When you're pairing fonts, one is more fancy and one is pretty plain. And then anything that you're wanting people to see at a thumbnail, you want it to be bold, very bold. You want the fonts to be thick. Anything that you're doing on Pinterest or Instagram, things like that, using a font like this just does not work good. Now, if you've got a printed, invitation that somebody's holding and they're looking up, holding close and looking, then yes, it's pretty. But online, these kind of fonts just do not work good. So you notice over here, I've got the plainer block font here, and then the fancy one here, but see how thick, see how bold these lines are so that it's really readable, where this one is not. So the one on the left uses a serif font, which means it has the little feet, if you would, or the little lines on the top and bottom, where a sans serif means it doesn't have a serif. So it's just like block letters. They're just clean. So they're much easier to read online, as you can see here. And then to make it more effective, I have put the main words here in all caps. So you don't want to put everything in all caps, because that's like shouting, and it's also harder to read when everything is in all caps. Then you don't know what is emphasized. But E can also stand for emphasize, so you only emphasize a few things that are the most important. And so I've emphasized the acronym here by separating it, and then by capitalizing the main words. So the T then is for tailor-made. So this right here is tailor-made for my audience, which is women creators like yourself. I realize there might be some men here, but my particular audience is women creators, bloggers, content creators, things like that. This is going to appeal to them because, women love flowers. Like I said, who doesn't love getting a bouquet of flowers, right? And then the next T is for tantalizing. And tantalizing means it produces that, oh, I gotta have it now feeling. So how many of you would like to have this checklist and you're like, yes, I need that when I'm designing my images to make sure that it is pretty, that it's powerful, readable, effective, tailor-made, tantalizing, and yummy. So just hang on and I'll show you how you can have that. And then the Y is for yummy, which means, like we talked about, that's the thing that's actually what we consider pretty or beautiful, yummy. It's attractive to the senses. So we like to look at it. It's eye candy, if you will. Let's talk about what else makes a great lead magnet. You want it to be easy. If it can save someone time or frustration or money, make something easier for them, then you want to do that. And also if you can give them a quick win. Nobody wants to read a 50-page ebook in order to solve their problem. They want, a cheat sheet, a checklist, a template, something that's easy and quick, and that makes it irresistible. Just think about the easy button when you're designing your lead magnet. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a better idea now of how to grow a flourishing email list using the power of pretty and generosity. You were made to shine. There is room for all of us, and this world needs more light. I want to see you shine.